things must perish.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is me, it's not me, it's you, honest, saying peace to each and every single body. The time for action, the time for war, the time for conciliation, the time for consideration, the time for sitting down thinking about what to do right now, right here. Nobody knows what to do. Everybody's confused. All I can say to you is, don't be scared, but be prepared. Plan for the worst, but hope for the best. Give you more, nevertheless. You see, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do listen to some conspiracy theories, so-called conspiracy theories, from the BBC and from the ITV, so-called independent television, so-called British broadcasting. Some of it is more likened unto propaganda, as far as I'm concerned. When I see a particular subject, like, for example, the Iraq War and the Saddam Hussein fiasco being peppered all over the broadcast media 24/7, 365 on a very intensive basis, then for me that's a red flag. When they say Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction, etc., etc., again and again and again, and then we find out afterwards that he had no weapons of mass destruction.
Maybe under here. Nope, no weapons over there.
That the weapons that he used to kill his own people were sold to him by the American government. The weapons that he used to kill his Iraqi people were sold by the British and Americans. And once he did their dirty work for them, in terms of the invasion of Kuwait, then they went in and took him out. Now, history is there written for all to see. And you know the stories. History is his story. So if you want to find out what happened and if Saddam had really weapons of mass destruction, then go and find out. If you want to find out what really happened on 9/11 and how they knew it was Saddam Hussein who bombed it with a group of terrorists hiding in the caves of Afghanistan within 2 hours of the wall of the towers actually falling, then you go find out. You believe whatever you want to believe. At the end of the day, you believe whatever you want to believe. I'm not going to try and tell you to follow this one or follow that one or believe this or believe that. Members of my family are hardcore Christians and they believe that right now these are the end times. Some say no, the rapture hasn't happened. Some don't even believe in the rapture. But you believe whatever you want to believe. Members of my family are hardcore Muslims and follow the religion of Islam. And they believe that right now, some of them believe right now that the Dajaal, the digital Dajaal, is happening right now. Believe in the Dajaal or don't believe in the Dajaal. Believe in the digital technocratic future or don't believe it. You believe whatever you want to believe. You live however you want to live. But right now, you can't live however you want to live. You want to go and watch Liverpool play football. You want to go and see Liverpool play Tottenham at the weekend. You want to see Liverpool not win the Premiership? Well, there's no football, there's no cricket, there's no basketball, there's no ice hockey, there's no baseball, there's no congregations in the churches, no congregations in the mosque. The mosques are empty, the churches are empty, the synagogues are empty. Families are scattered from one another. Human beings are, in fact, essentially social beings. You're being forced against your very nature. And if you're being forced against your nature, then you're going against your divine nature. Seek solace in the fact that there is a God, a creator, however you conceive him or her to be. You could be a Muslim, a Christian, or a Jew, or anything else. But there is a God, a creator. Well, I come from that premise anyway. You don't have to believe that. All I can say to you is that those people that think that Jurgen Klopp or Kenny Dalglish or Pele are gods are going to soon find out otherwise. Anybody who thinks that Kobe Bryant was a god in basketball, well, you know Kobe Bryant is no longer here. I've even heard conspiracy theories that Kobe Bryant, like a lot of these elite CEOs, have been taken underground into their caves. You can hear many, many things, but you make up your mind. Human beings have this instinctive, I would argue, this indelible tendency, this infallible property to tell what is right from wrong, to tell the truth from fallacy. Some of the stuff that we're hearing, it rings alarms for me. Red flags are being propped up. When I hear that Facebook is now taking over Instagram and taking over, when I hear that now Facebook is now censoring, in effect, WhatsApp, so that people can't send personal messages to one another in their groups and spread information which they label misinformation or disinformation, I find that quite alarming. I find that to be an infringement on your civil liberties even though 10 years ago WhatsApp wasn't even here. But now it's part of everybody's everyday life. But they're not everybody's, because parts of China you can't even have WhatsApp. So this rings a bell of alarm for me. When you hear that David Icke is being ridiculed on the BBC, it's not the first time that David Icke has been ridiculed on the BBC. I remember a year ago, however long ago it was, that this other cat, what's his name, Alex Jones, was being ridiculed on the BBC and other so-called mainstream, Daydream, Poison River TV and internet channels. He was being banned from the internet apparently. What happened to that? I think that there are some government shells, some government agents who work within mainstream broadcasting to spread the disinformation, misinformation that the government want you to hear. I'm not going to tell you that, 5G is here to kill you. Yeah, I've heard that 5G is here to kill you. I've heard that 5G is a weapons system. So if I tell you that and get you scared to walk down the streets because of 5G, how's that going to benefit you? If I get you all wound up, ready to fight or ready to antagonize the government, if I get you wound up against the government and tell you that these government, from the Bollinger Club, from the Carrington Club, from the Hellfire Club, from way back in the day, from the Old Friars Club, that they're all devil worshippers and do their rowdy antisocial behavior in ritualistic manner to give homage to their devils, how's that going to benefit you? All I can say is that these people that we vote and put into positions of power don't necessarily have your best interests at heart. They will tell you on the one hand, look, you're not allowed to congregate, you're not allowed to go into the street, you're not allowed to be within 2 meters of anybody else. And then they're going to have their little soirees on their parties and catch COVID in and amongst themselves. One thing I do respect about many so-called conspiracy theorists is that they will tell you, don't believe me. Any of the information that I give to you, don't believe what I say. Go and find out for yourself. Go and do your own research. And they will give you documents. They will present to you documents and information where you can go and research what they're talking about and tell you to go and verify, or otherwise to go and attest or contest what they're saying. And you can agree or disagree according to your own individual research. But generally, because of this infallible ability that we have as human beings, we know when somebody's trying to pull the wool over your eyes. We know when somebody's trying to propagandize. But I think it's Goebbels or whoever, Hitler's propaganda master, he said the bigger the lie, the more you tell the lie, the more the people will believe it. And this COVID thing right now, it's plastered all over the TV. It's peppered everywhere. You can't run from it. The government send you a text. The government send you a letter. The government send you a Facebook. They send you a WhatsApp. They send you an Instagram, etc. I've got nothing against anybody in the NHS. I love nurses. I love doctors. I love the fact that people dedicate their lives in some of the cases to helping others. A lot of the cases is just to help themselves and to feed their habits. But humans are humans. But when I see that the government is orchestrating, that the people are orchestrating these mass rituals to go out and applaud the NHS, then I see that being copycatted in America. I see it being copycatted in parts of the Middle East, in Arabia and in Africa. When I see lockdown being copycatted all over the world, I think, is there a bigger plan here? Is this somebody's orchestrated mechanization? Is this somebody's orchestrated plan here? Is it something that we're not being told about, that we don't really know about? Is there a plan? Is there a blueprint for this? And then if you go and ask yourself the same question, you will find out with some research that yes, there is a plan. There is a blueprint for what's happening now. In May, do a Google on what I'm telling you now. Do your own research into what I'm telling you now. In May 2010, the Rockefeller Foundation predicted in a paper entitled Scenarios for the Future of Technology and International Development. In the plan, the first stage was called Lockstep. If you look into the Rockefeller Foundation and the future of technology and international development, you will see that everything that's playing out right now, including the lockdown, including the rates, basically they created a scenario for the spread of a pandemic, a virus, or a biological weapon. And they simulated what would happen. They postulated the reactions of the people and how they could take control of governments around the world. According to many conspiracy theorists, this World Health Organization, this United Nations, this government, these governments are regionalizing the planet, regionalizing the countries and the continents of the planet in an attempt to have one world government, in an attempt to have one world currency, in an attempt to bring forth one world army, in an attempt to bring forth one world religion, in an attempt to bring one world currency. Now, if you fear any of these things, these things are loosely termed globalism. If you fear globalism, then anything that rings of any of these issues will ring alarms for you, will signal red flags for you. But then other people call this aspect, this aura, this plan, this blueprint of globalization as the coming of the Dajaal, the coming of the end times, the end days. But we don't know what the end days are. We don't know when the end times are. What we do know is that for years and years, people have been saying that in the last times, in order for you to eat and to travel, you will need to have a mark of the beast on your hand or your forehead. I think this stuff is written in the Bible. And in the Dajaal, in the Quran, they have other things which are similar in the last days when they speak of the Dajaal. And that the Dajaal, the false Messiah, will come and promise people so many things, will come and perform miracles and convince the people that they are the leaders. And they will take 1/3 or half of the Islamic population, of the Muslim believers with them. They will have many imams, many ummahs will believe the Dajaal, the false leader, and follow. Many Christians will follow the false messiahs. They will believe the false messiahs and follow. Getting back around to conspiracy theorists. David Icke has been on the TV recently, being ridiculed again, as he was by Wogan back in the 1980s or early 90s, whenever it was. And they're ridiculing him, calling him a crazy conspiracy theorist. Now, if you make a prediction, many of you go to your horoscopes and see what your horoscope's going to be for the day. So, does that mean that you don't believe in Allah? Does that mean that you don't believe in God? Does that mean that you don't believe in Jehovah because you watch your horoscopes or you listen to somebody who gives predictions? Many of you go and play on the lottery and you're so-called Muslim and you're so-called Christian. Does that mean you're not a good Muslim? Look, I'm not here to question anything like that. The point I'm going to make is that if David Icke said 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that he was Jesus Christ and that the Queen is a reptile, perhaps he was wrong about that. Some may go and follow David Icke. Some may in fact believe that he is the Messiah. All I would say is that take any of his research into the death of Princess Diana, into the conspiracy around 9/11, into the current coronavirus, and do your own research. Take his research, have a look at it, because some of it is quite well done. He's quite well read and he's quite well researched. He allegedly doesn't sleep very many hours. He works 20 hours a day, and if he could 24 hours a day, researching and digging into crates and what have you. And then he provides the information for the people. Some of the information that he does provide is on point. So take some, leave others. But don't, if you're a Christian or a Muslim, believe that he is the Messiah. Even if he's a self-confessed Messiah. So he's a false Messiah. But that doesn't mean that some of the information that he presents is correct. Or that some of the information he presents is incorrect. Take it or leave it alone. Take and research whatever any conspiracy theorist is saying. Some of it might, a lot of people, they give you 60% truth and 40% lie, or 80% truth, 20% lie, or 99% true on that 1% lie. And that's that 1% that's going to mislead you, misdirect you, confuse you, cajole you, imprison you. No. Use your gut instincts. Use your God-given instincts to discern which way to go, left or right, day or night. Hope for the best, but plan for the worst. What does that mean? Do you have food and supplies for the next year? Do you have food stocked up? So maybe you live a month. You've got 1 year supply of food and you're going to live for 1 more month. So maybe you'll be better off giving some to your neighbor, or giving some to the homeless people, or giving some to the starving in India and Africa and Indonesia. Giving some to the needy. Don't just be greedy. Is that me? I said. When I say don't believe all the figures, because magicians, politicians and statisticians and mathematicians, it's their time right now. Oh, and don't forget the technocrats and the technological experts, the experts, the doctors. It's their time right now. They want to bring forth a system of expertise where you have to believe the experts. You don't believe your pastor. You don't believe your preacher. You don't believe your imam. You don't believe your ummah. Because if you did, you'd be praying. Because if you did, you'd be working together to build your congregation. Why is it okay for you to go to the supermarket and keep 2 feet distance, but it's not okay for you to go to your church and congregate, keeping a safe social distance away from each other? Why is it okay for you to go to the supermarket and to go and buy your goods, but it's not okay for you to go to the mosque and pray, keeping a safe social distance? Who says that prayer and religion is not a fundamental human right? It's those who do not believe in prayer and religion as a redemptive tool for the glorification of God and for the salvation of the self that tell you that religion is not useful and is not proper and is not essential. It's those who are members of the Bollinger Club, the Carrington Club, the Hellfire Club, the Friars Club, and these Illuminati, Masons and atheists who tell you that religion is not an essential human right.
4 states must perish.
How are you going to be a revolutionary with such a tradition?